President Trump's taken a swipe at somebody he presumably used to like, somebody he picked for her job, but somebody who did not deliver on a prosecution he wanted. That's Judge Jeanine. You know, Jeanine Pirro, former Fox News host. She's now the lead federal prosecutor in D.C. But President Trump says she choked, says she folded like an umbrella when Pirro decided to drop the case against a former Olympian accused of vandalizing the reflecting pool. Turns out it wasn't the Olympian, but shoddy work by a contractor that was the problem. According, by the way, to the prosecution. This is according to the government. President Trump doesn't love it.
Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department. And I guess she choked. I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro, really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella, and people get away with things, and it's a disgrace.
Let me bring in Ryan Reilly, who's joining us now. Let me just unpack a few things here. First of all, when he says the judge went after her, didn't they just drop? Wasn't this her decision?
Yeah.
She just decided, we're not going to bring this case.
Completely. And also the judge didn't take any substantive action like at all, right? There was a preliminary hearing. There wasn't any commentary. There wasn't any communication with the judge. He doesn't know who the judge was, clearly, but also I don't think there's any evidence you could suggest that like the judge was somehow an obstruction here just because it was a weak case to begin with.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the prosecution, the government, Pirro and team found what they described as new information that pointed at just bad installation work to begin with. It wasn't this Olympian going in, it was poorly installed to start with, right?
Yeah, that part in particular was already sort of coming up. But not only that, but it was coming up across the board. One of the things that they pointed out in their memo Friday is that, you know, when you're thinking of people being able to damage parts of the water, it would be on the edge, right? But it was coming up in the middle of the pond. No one like walked out into the middle of the pond and tried to rip it up from the middle, right? So it's like there just was a bunch of things that didn't make sense about this prosecution from the beginning.
What is clear, President Trump is not pleased.
Yeah.
He is not happy. Should we be on Jeanine Pirro firing watch? What's up?
I mean, it's her sink or swim moment, you might say.
Is it?
Yeah,
oh,
man.
Okay. She's in it. But honestly, like, is he mad enough to maybe let her go?
I think that's, you know, certainly something to watch out for because we have seen in the past that people he's had a close relationship with, Pam Bondi, right, doesn't live up to the prosecutions that he wants, and suddenly she's in trouble here. Now, I will say Pirro has a much longer relationship.
She's been an ally of his for so long. I mean, well before she ended up in his administration.
It goes way back. And so this might be something where she can sort of explain maybe she hasn't had enough face time. But the reports were that they communicated pretty frequently and, you know, we're in communication. So it's, you know, unclear what went along here. But if you just read the filings, this case was never going to succeed. It was a matter of when the case went down as opposed to, you know, if it would.
But this is also part and parcel. You mentioned Pam Bondi, part and parcel of a pattern from President Trump. He's been really clear about these people who work for him in the Justice Department. When he wants prosecutions, he wants to see them done.
Right. And she tried to indict 6 sitting members of Congress over a video that Donald Trump didn't like, in which they told, you know, members of the military, members of the intelligence branch that they should obey their oaths, that they shouldn't obey, they shouldn't follow unlawful orders. Donald Trump wanted those individuals indicted. Jeanine Pirro's office tried to get them indicted. Now, a federal grand jury in D.C. rejected it. And I think, you know, the question on this reflecting pool case that I think we would have gotten into had it continued on is how was this jury actually instructed? Because it was a little bit of a surprise that a D.C. grand jury went ahead with this sort of case. We don't know how many of those grand jurors went along with it because, you know, that's not something you have to break down at the grand jury level. And we don't know precisely what arguments they made and whether or not, you know, potentially any of the witnesses were coached. So I think there are still a lot of questions about this. I don't think the reflecting pool case is fully adjudicated yet because, you know, we could still see in the future them move to try to, you know, get this thrown out entirely or potentially maybe some litigation from the plaintiff or from the former defendant here.
Do you have you said that like you know something. Do you know something or we don't know
see
yet?
I mean, we saw
Not
some
trying to put you on the spot. Sorry, that was just a key leaf, but okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. Ryan Reilly, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.